Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reading Reddit with Amber. Today I have another batch of outrageous wedding stories for you. Our first story today is, am I the jerk for arguing with my fiancé and refusing to let her niece be the flower girl instead of my sister? I'm a 23-year-old male, and my fiancé, who's a 22-year-old female, are getting married this month. Wedding planning has been literally a nightmare. Her mom keeps stomping boundaries and changes any plans we come up with to have a, quote, decent wedding and not let me, quote, ruin it and embarrass her. Her mom thinks I'm a kid and she calls me son, and it's so annoying and inappropriate. My fiancé is the youngest in the family, and I'm the youngest son-in-law in the family. That's why I got this nickname. Anyway, my fiancé and I already discussed and decided to have my 9-year-old sister be the flower girl. She has mild cerebral palsy, but she's functioning and does good at school. She's had people make comments about her, and she's very sensitive, so she'd get upset because of these inconsiderate people's comments. My sister is on cloud 9 ever since she was told she will be the flower girl. She got her dress, and so far she's tried it on more than 5 times, asking me when I'm going to have the wedding, which is sweet. Thing is, my fiancé came to tell me last week that we will be making changes in terms of the menu and invitation cards because her mom recommended other things instead of what we agreed on. According to her mom, I have no idea what a, quote, good, decent wedding looks like, and she wanted to save us, herself, from, quote, embarrassment. I let it go and didn't say anything because my fiancé told me these are small issues and that I needed to go with the flow. Okay, no problem, but to suggest that we picked the wrong flower girl was the straw that broke the camel's back. She actually said she wasn't sure how my sister will behave at the wedding and that we shouldn't take the chance and should just pick her niece instead. I told her, no, not gonna happen. Like, I gave my parents and my sister my word. No way I'm going to make her upset and sad and let the niece take her place. My fiancé threw a fit and said I was overreacting. Then my sister still gets to wear her dress, but sit with the crowd instead of walking down the aisle. We began arguing over this the whole week, and now I'm supposed to call her and say, okay, but I refused, and I'm standing my ground and wanting my sister to be the flower girl, despite what others say because this offends me and my family. Edit. People say that we can have more than one flower girl, but my mother-in-law doesn't think my sister should even be included as one. She wants her sitting like a guest the whole time, thinking she might, quote, misbehave, where in fact my sister isn't like that at all. She's well-behaved and smart, even better than other kids. My fiancé seems to agree since she wants me to say yes. Not the jerk. The mother-in-law sounds like an extreme jerk. Why would she assume the sister would misbehave? Like, I'm pretty sure that's just an excuse to cover up her ableism. Anyone who would be off-put by a flower girl with cerebral palsy is a jerk and should not be catered to. It sounds like the bride-to-be is used to doing whatever her mother tells her, but that is no excuse for her request. This is OP and the bride-to-be's wedding, not mother-in-law's. OP has already made a ton of compromises to appease her mother. If the bride-to-be won't stick up for OP on something as important as having his little sis in the wedding party, then maybe it's time to rethink the whole wedding thing. Mother-in-law isn't going to stop being overbearing on her own, and if the bride-to-be continues acquiescing to her mom's demands, then OP is going to find himself in an unhappy situation, probably especially if they're planning on having kids. Our next story is, am I the jerk for using my future mother-in-law's own line on her? I'm a 28-year-old female, and my fiancé is a 28-year-old male, and we have been together 9 years since sophomore year of college, and we got engaged in October of 2019. My future mother-in-law, 54-year-old female, has 3 sons, of which my fiancé is the oldest. She is very much into being matriarch and hates the idea of her little babies growing up and moving on with their lives. She cried for days when me and fiancé, then boyfriend, moved into an apartment together after graduating college and asked my fiancé if I forced him to do it. I was never invited to the future in-laws' home for Thanksgiving or Christmas because that was, quote, for family only. My fiance threw down to have me invited in 2019 after we got engaged. I was excluded from photos because those were for family only, and I was only a fiance, not a wife. My future brother-in-law's girlfriend still gets the same treatment. Mother-in-law recently caught wind, from fiance, of my plans to go wedding dress shopping with my mom, sister, and cousin. She assumed she was invited and called me to ask what day and time. I said, oh no, it will just be me, mom, sister, and cousin. She was clearly upset and asked, why can't I come? I said, oh, it's for family only. I am sure you understand. She sputtered something about having to go and hung up. She later whined to fiance about how I was being mean, excluding her from this experience since she had no daughters. Fiance and his brother with a girlfriend thought it was hilarious, as did the girlfriend, and loved that I turned the tables on her in a way she can't protest against without being marked as a hypocrite. Fiance's youngest brother thinks I'm being mean to her for no reason, and I should be considerate of the fact that she has no daughters and let her share this experience. I don't want her there because I want to enjoy it with the loved ones, and I frankly don't want to include someone in an experience like that who made a point of excluding me. So Reddit, am I the jerk? And then there are some edits, and I want to read edit 2 in particular. I think this one gives you a pretty good insight into the mother-in-law's character. Well, she called my mom and asked if she could come. My mom said it was not her decision and to ask me. She seemed to think that my mother could command me to invite her, probably because she operates that way. She then told fiance to give me a list of rules for my dress, which include no strapless, no halter, no sweetheart neckline, not too tight, and not too much cleavage. She wants me to look, quote, classy. I am an accountant at a global accounting firm, yet somehow she thinks I'm going to embarrass her by not looking classy. Fiance sent her a text, quote, Mom, you're smothering us. This is none of your business, so stop it. She's called him 9 times in the last hour since she got that text. I'm going to say not the jerk. Mother-in-law has made it clear that she doesn't view OP as family, so why should she be part of such an important day for OP? Also, props to the fiancé for standing up to his mom. Our third story is, would I be the jerk if I broke my promise and took away my maid of honor's role? So the day I've been dreading arrived. I, a 27-year-old female, am engaged. Just kidding, I'm over the moon about that, but I have great anxiety over who to pick. Throughout childhood, I had 2 cousins around the same age as me that are really important to me. On my maternal side, I have a second cousin, Margot, 26-year-old female, who grew up 2 doors down from me. On my paternal side, my cousin Danielle, 27-year-old female, lived on the other side of the country, but we always talked on the phone, even with the time zone difference. Growing up, Margot and I were always in competition/proximity to one another, so we always butted heads, as all little girls do, so Danielle and I were much closer. When I was about 10 or 12, or around that age I guess, I told Danielle that I wanted her to be my maid of honor, since I didn't have any siblings and we were so close. As the years went by, Danielle and I grew apart. We still saw each other every Thanksgiving and at all of the family reunions, but we weren't speaking to each other for months. Meanwhile, Margot and I got close after all of the childhood rivalry and competition subsided. After high school, we went to the same college, and our relationship was even stronger. Where I may be the jerk. 3 years ago when my fiancé, can't believe I get to say that now, and I were getting more serious, I was catching up with Danielle. Another cousin joked about marriage, and we somehow got onto the topic of bridesmaids. I mentioned how I'm an only child, so I have no idea who would be my maid of honor. Danielle's face immediately drops and she says, I thought I was your maid of honor. You said so. I joked a little and said, yeah, when I was 10. You remember that? And all the other cousins laughed but her. She brings it up every now and then and starts to refer to Margot or my other close friend as a jerk she never liked. She also has said that Margot is only my second cousin, so she is more extended than she is. I asked if I would be her maid of honor, and she said, of course not, because I have a sister. Yet she still seems to get very anxious over the fact that I was breaking my promise. She even gets very jealous of any woman I befriend, even though we both really don't make the effort to be close or contact beyond the family gatherings. Margot has told me that I would share the title of maid of honor with her sister because of our closeness. So when Danielle brought up my broken promise last Thanksgiving, I mentioned the idea of a shared maid of honor, but she got offended at that. I feel like Danielle would be crushed if I picked someone else, but I don't feel that close to her anymore, although she still is incredibly important to me. I also think Margot expects it too, and has voiced a dislike for Danielle as well. The engagement just happened a few days ago, and I haven't told the extended family yet. I'm really just trying not to hurt feelings and be the jerk, but it feels like I'm going to be regardless. Would I be the jerk? No, you wouldn't be a jerk. It's not reasonable to hold OP to a promise she made when she was 10. People drift apart as they age sometimes, and it makes sense that OP would want someone she was closer to as her maid of honor. I think the shared maid of honor idea was a nice compromise, but if Danielle continues to be upset about that prospect, then she can have a more minor role in the wedding. Sure, it will hurt her feelings, but she also has an unreasonable expectation, so OP won't be a jerk for hurting Danielle's feelings. Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my fiancé that it would be tacky for her to wear a wedding dress emphasizing her baby bump? Context. We were originally supposed to be married back in June, but that was canceled for obvious reasons. We're both in our 30s, so the plan had been to start trying for a baby right before our wedding. I wanted to delay that when the wedding was canceled, since I didn't want her to be pregnant and unmarried, but she begged me to stick with the original plan due to our age and medical history, and promised that if and when she got pregnant would have a civil ceremony. She got pregnant our first cycle, but didn't want to have the ceremony right away. She said there was no rush. By August, she had decided that she instead wanted to do a small ceremony in December at her parents' house, and didn't want a civil ceremony because she wanted our ceremony to feel real. Fine. Dispute. My fiancé's original dress won't work for our wedding in December because by then she'll be almost 30 weeks pregnant, so she had to find another that would work with her stomach. I haven't seen it, but when I asked her how it works, she told me it's form-fitted. I did ask her to clarify, just to be sure I didn't have the wrong idea, and she told me that the dress isn't meant to hide her stomach. It is meant to complement it. I am already uncomfortable with the situation, and I have family coming that are not happy with the way we've done things. I can deal with that, but I think this is too much. It's a bad look in my opinion that makes us look tacky. She, on the other hand, says it's fine and not a problem. Where I may be the jerk. I told her my thoughts and how I felt her flaunting her pregnancy while we're getting married would be a bad look. I said that wearing a dress like that would be tacky and begged her to choose something less form-fitting. That really upset her, so now I am the jerk because I, in her words, am prioritizing the feelings of my family over her feelings and shaming her for being pregnant and treating her like an embarrassment. My intent wasn't to hurt her or to make her feel like I am ashamed of her, but I want her to be reasonable and sensitive to the situation. I did offer to do a separate ceremony later after the baby is born, if we had eloped, but she declined, so I don't think she can say I didn't try to accommodate her, and I don't feel like my ask is unreasonable given how flexible I've been up until now. Am I the jerk? Oh yes, OP. You are definitely being a jerk here. OP and his fiancée made the joint decision to try conceiving, and surprise, surprise, his fiancée is now pregnant. I mean, wasn't that the entire point so she would become pregnant? And now she's supposed to feel embarrassed and ashamed because the thing they were trying to make happen did in fact happen? If OP is afraid of his family being judgy, then maybe don't invite the judgy people to the wedding. But it is OP's fiancé's day too, and she should wear something that she feels beautiful in, not hide herself in a giant sack to appease OP's family. Those are all the stories I have for you for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving it a like or letting me know in the comments. I post new videos twice a week, funny or outrageous ones on Wednesdays and spooky ones on Sundays. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.